Hi, I'm Teri Camus.
I'm Shannan Laudet.
We are Real Estate by TLC, and once again, we're here to talk a little shop.
Yep, and today we're going to talk about final walkthroughs. What is a final walkthrough? What's it all about? What for?
Yeah, so we'll talk about it from both the buyer's perspective and from a seller's perspective.
Right.
But from the buyer's perspective, this is the opportunity. By contract, they have the right to do a final walkthrough 5 days prior to closing.
Yep.
It's their opportunity to fall back in love with the house, maybe measure for drapes, that sort of a thing.
Yep, and from a contractual standpoint, it's written into the contract that the buyer and the seller signed that at the final walkthrough, the buyer has the right to inspect the home to make sure it's in its original condition when it was first seen. Normal wear and tear accepted. Now, the one time that this really seems to come into play is if they're, you don't have control over who's living in the home, if you had a crazy tenant in there and
Sure.
maybe there's a new hole in the
Sure.
wall. So that's really what they're looking for. And then also to make sure that all of the systems and appliances work.
Yeah. I've actually had it happen to me when I represented the buyers that we walked into a house to do the final walkthrough, and all the appliances were there, but they weren't the same appliances that were there when we made our offer.
That's crazy. That's not okay.
It's not okay.
I bet you had a lot of phone calls ahead of you.
We had a lot of phone calls. I've also had the sellers forget that they were leaving the washer and dryer and it was removed. That's not a good scenario either. So
No, not at all. So, there really is a good reason to do a walkthrough. And as a seller, you need to remember that this is a contractual right that the buyers have. So prepare yourself that, okay, within the last 5 days before closing, the buyers are going to come through my home again.
One thing to really think about, I know from a seller perspective, the biggest objection that I usually get is the seller says, the house doesn't look like it did when they put an offer in on it.
I'm in the middle of packing.
There's
boxes everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we expect that that's what it's going to be like. If the buyer walked in and it looked absolutely the same as when they put an offer on it, they'd probably be a little scared.
They'd be freaked out. They'd be like, why isn't the seller moving?
I didn't need a roommate.
Not
So
this
anyway,
time.
it is totally an expectation that the house is going to be in disarray. There's going to be boxes.
Yeah.
That's not going to be a shock.
Things aren't going to look the same. That's not what they're there for. They're not to look at your process of moving.
Right.
Again, systems and appliances, and possibly the opportunity to measure and just fall in love with your house all over again.
It doesn't mean that it's, that you should neglect the yard or that the home shouldn't be clean. It's really important that you do your best.
Yep, that's actually in the contract too. You're supposed to keep the house in the same condition as when the buyer originally saw it.
So if you have any questions, as usual, please never hesitate to reach out to us.
Always here for you.